Alright, Dhamma folks, let's get started by lighting the candle. First of all, a very good evening to all of you. And yes, and as you may have heard that today is the last day that I do in person in this trip. But Brother Leslie might be giving some announcements at the end, how we going to proceed this sutta study till I come back. We are continuing. So please keep joining the classes. Do not miss out on classes, otherwise you might not be able to catch up. If you cannot catch up, that means you cannot stay updated with the classes, so that you might not be able to understand the most important aspects of the suttas. Alright, so we're going to get started at this point by paying homage to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. So today we are going to do an overview, and I would say a recap or a review of the past sessions. I would say mainly about the Noble Eightfold Path. Once again, I wanted to say this is not a review of the whole Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which will be somewhere after many weeks from today. Alright, normally it takes around 6 months to finish this sutta. That is the plan. It might not. But at this point, it is mainly about the Noble Eightfold Path. You might wonder why we picked up the Noble Eightfold Path to this level. It is because in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, as you can see at the beginning, the Buddha mentions that this was his innovation. This was what he found out, not falling into the two extreme paths. So then we picked up that, because the rest of the noble truths are leading to this noble truth. But we are yet to study the rest of the noble truths. The first noble truth, second noble truth, third one, which will be now coming up after today, right? In order for you to minimize searching through the website, I made a blog post, where you can click on the certain lessons, exactly the lessons we have been doing since we started the individual aspects of the sutta, Kama Sukhallikana Yoga, Atta Kilamatana Yoga, and an overview of the Noble Eightfold Path, and then the rest of the path factors. So we are going to do the review, not me just always talking today. I might be asking questions, don't be scared to answer, I'm not shooting you. This is a learning that we learn together. We call happy learning together, so that we understand that there are areas that we have not studied very well, maybe you may have not looked at previously. So we will be learning most of the important aspects of the path, not as a theory, but also as a practical journey. Now this is the issue. The way how I explained to you was mostly about how to practice in your daily life. Otherwise you might think that you are coming to a theoretical class, an academic class, just as a piece of reading, piece of preparation for an examination. It is not as such. So we are kind of blending these two and then mostly looking at the practical way of putting the practice into our Dhamma journey. Okay, so what is the most important thing that you learn about this Noble Eightfold Path? I think we have a mic over here, right? If you don't need a mic, it's okay too. What was the most important thing that you learned here? You learn, let me help you out. You learn that this is a combined practice. Do not pick up individual factors here and there and then start practicing. You will get stagnated. You will get stuck. Is that a very important advice? It is. Otherwise you you cherry pick the certain your favorite path factors and you start practicing. Who cares? Huh? Do we care about that? You might do it. I think this is how you've been doing it. Right mindfulness, mindfulness, my favorite. And then you might be practicing it. But you don't see the connection of right mindfulness has backward and forward. And then you get stuck. Why did I start practicing right mindfulness? And you, through the sessions, may have come to a point, no, I should have started somewhere else. That was right view. There comes the gradual practice, right view, and then so and so forth. That is how we learn how to practice it. Somebody might think, no, I'm going to practice Sila only. Right? A lot of people get stuck in the Sila. The Buddha said, Sila is necessary, but never ever end up in Sila. Because if you end up in Sila, what will happen is that you will never go to Samadhi. You are practicing Sila to go to Samadhi. Because in someone's life where there is an adequate level of Sila, there comes the Samadhi. When there is an adequate level of Samadhi, there arises wisdom. Wisdom arises naturally in that calm mind. Right? That is how we learn. So the most important thing that you learn so far in our BMV Monday Sutta study was that, in particular about the Noble Eightfold Path, is that never ever cherry pick any of the Noble Path factor, because there is a certain way to practice it. Start from the beginning. Now when you start from the beginning, do you have to think that, okay, October 1st week I am practicing Sammaditthi, 2nd week Samma Sankappa, 3rd week Samma Vacha, and then by the end of December you might think you might be able to practice Samma Samadhi. Is it how we are supposed to practice? No. We may start practicing one by one just to understand more or less, but the real practice kicks in when you practice these 7 factors simultaneously. Right? It's like you're driving a car. Bad example, right? Driving a car, you have to give some gas to the accelerator, You have to understand that your vision could be sometimes 90 degree, probably 180. Probably if you reverse, you have to have 360. You have to scan the road, this side, this side. You have to have a very all-pervading understanding. Not even that. You have to be very conscious about the blind spots where you don't see the people behind on the side. And you are not driving on other people's blind spots too, in those big vehicles, large vehicles. They might not see you. So it's kind of it's not just driving, it is a whole experience. In the same way, you are practicing the Noble Eightfold Path simultaneously. How do we do that? Whenever you have to talk, then you talk with Samma Vacha. Whenever you have to be mindful, you practice mindful. Not that today I am not going to practice Samma Vacha Kammanta, only Samma Sati. Is it going to work? It might work for you in an hour practice, but it is not helpful to practice the whole path. Now this is very important, right? Any questions about that before we jump into the individual factors to do a review? The whole aspect, the methodology of the Noble Eightfold Path is as such. Any questions about that? If your voice is loud enough, you can just see. Yeah, good.
I recall the last conversation I had with you when I told you that very often I'm very mindful about you, and you told me I am not on the right path to cultivation of practice. And personally, really, it was a stress I felt. That's how ignorant. And then we went on, and you told me samadhi has to be the starting point. And what happened? I went back. I've been studying the samadhi sutta, and if my understanding is correct, my understanding is that the moment if we are able to have cessation of all those whatever is mentioned in the sutta, the craving, the clinging, it will mean that one has already there attaining samadhi. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So if that is true, if for a person to have so-called reach that right view of samadhi by cessation of all those. So I have one major question here, because craving has been mentioned as one of them. So my question here is when a person has strong desire, does having a strong desire a form of craving? If it is, my question will be, as a practitioner, are we supposed to be ambitious then? Because out there in the commercial world, there's a lot of this personal development seminar, workshop, success seminar. They will hype you up of your desire so that you achieve whatever the materialism and the prosperity that one desires. So that's my question. So from the practitioner point of view, or from the Buddhist point of view, should a practitioner go for those kind of workshops? That's one. And two, is desire part of it craving?
Oh, you have brought up a couple of things. Yeah. Well, this is what I can think about it. Samma Ditti Sutta is a sutta where Arahant Sariputta is talking about different ways of practicing Samma Ditti. Alright? But that Samma Ditti mostly falls into the what you call supramundane level of Samma Ditti. It is not the Samma Ditti as a layperson which you have to follow. There are two types of Samma Ditti, two types of Samma Sankappa, two types of Samma Vacha. Arahant's version and unenlightened person's version. So do not go to that part as the first point. That's number one. Number two is you are asking about attending workshops. It is not relevant here because it is a material thing. If anybody wants to go and develop their skills, it is their thing. And when we are living in a society, we have to understand the conditions. Now the conditions that we are facing are not the conditions that the people in the 5th BCE went through. So they have different ways of improving skills, understanding things. So it is up to them. So we cannot bring such a such an attempt to understand Sammaditthi. If you look at the mundane version of Sammaditthi, you will think that even such workshops could be good, because you have to elevate yourself in terms of your perspective. So that is how, we don't know the context of those workshops. But anyways, I was asking you if you have any questions about the what you call the mainstream perspective of the Noble Eightfold Path. So when we discuss about that, we were mostly looking at that these 8 are a set of path factors. So Sammaditthi Sutta is a sutta that you have to read after understanding the mundane version of the Noble Eightfold Path, which I been explaining to you. I haven't explained to you the extra mundane version, which you should not look at it now, because when you attain Nibbana, your Eightfold Path become the tenfold Noble Path, and it is natural. You are not practicing it by force. Maybe by default, you are practicing it by default. Now you have no choice. In this way, as an unenlightened person, we have to practice these 8 as a set.
So is there a sutta for layperson?
Yeah, this is what I've been teaching. Maha Chattaryasaka Sutta. Yes, and the notes will be really helpful if you look at them. These notes, if you look at them, you will find out the mundane version, how to practice these 8. Alright, so let's get into our previous lessons, Kama Sukhallikana Yoga. Let me ask you a couple of things about it. What did we discuss about Kama Sukhallikana Yoga? I'm not going to go through all these. I just want to point out a couple of highlights about these lessons so that you will understand, you have the notes. What does Kama Sukhallikana Yoga mean in our conversation, in our discussion? We discussed that karma is necessary, isn't it? But the issue is that when karma becomes a clinging. Now as lay people, you cannot get rid of all karmas, right? You have to experience karmas in the proper way. By understanding that karmas can take you to kilesa level and vattu level, right? There are 2 types of karmas. Vattu karma means when you are owning the karma objects. But kilesa karma means karma as a mental defilement. Kilesa karma comes first. Then you might think, I want to own it, right? So kilesa karma becomes vattu karma. Not necessarily. Most people's kilesa karma become vattu karma. But here, in particular for the path in attaining Nibbana, especially to Buddha's search, he understood that this indulgence, in other words, clinging to sensual pleasure, is an extreme. Nobody can ever find the truth, find Nibbana by clinging to the sensual pleasures. That means you can still enjoy your karmas without clinging. Is it possible? Give me an example. Are there any examples where some enlightened people, maybe Sotapannas at least, at the very least, have done that so?
Right. So is that karma?
Can you
Yeah,
repeat?
even after Buddha attained enlightenment, then he very often go into the forest for a few months to practice meditation.
2 months?
Yeah. Is it a karma?
2 months? How did you find that? A few months?
Yeah, a few months, yeah.
Where did you find that?
I think the sutta mentioned that.
Which sutta is that?
But is it true?
No, I mean, this is again a conditional thing, because at that time,
Yeah.
they used to stay back and forth in the city and the forest.
Yeah.
So we should not take it as a forest must practice, right? So he may have gone to the forest. Maybe
Did Buddha actually go inside to practice meditation for certain period of time, even after he got enlightened?
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He has been till he passed away.
No, even after he achieved enlightenment, but he go to the forest to practice enlightenment very often.
Forest to practice meditation.
Yeah, to meditate.
You know, I'm telling that meditation was a normal practice in his life.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it some kind of karma?
No, that is his way. That is the monastic practice. Monastics are supposed to practice meditation. It's not such a very big turning point. But before he attained the Buddhahood, it was his search to become the Buddha. After that, he has been practicing it because consistent practice is important even for the Arahants, Pacceka Buddhas and Samma Sambuddhas. And it was not for a certain thing, but we know that he sometimes went into certain higher levels of jhanas. We know Sanya, what you call the ninth jhana. So he went into the ninth jhana. We call it Nirodha Samapatti. Nirodha Samapatti means is that only some Arahants and some definitely Samma Sambuddhas can get into that level, which means they sometimes think what is the happiness after the passing away. Now the true happiness of Nibbana comes after you passing away, those individuals passing away. So in that ninth jhana, we call it Sanya Vedata Nirodha, which means that you are temporarily withdrawing your perceptions and feelings, but you can still live for 7 days, right? So then they understand this is what happens to them when they pass away. To get that experience while they are being alive, they do that. So it is a meditation. Maybe they go to the forest to do that, but not necessarily, right? Overall, their practice is most of the meditations. So it is their normal practice, right? Not something very, what you call new to their practice. Okay, so Kama Sukha Yoga means that what you call you are not. Now, in particular here, monks, monastics, because Buddha says in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he uses a word. We have to see that. Dve me bhikkhave anta pabbacitena na sevitappa. So these two extremes should not be practiced followed by monastics. It's for the monastics, not for the dayakas. This is why I always tell you have to understand lay Buddhism first. Don't practice monastic Buddhism. Now there are people who want to search suttas online and then just want to write down notes and thinking that I know Dhamma. Don't do that. Always consult a good teacher, because you might be learning something that is not relevant to you, not relevant to your practice. So, pabbacitena is particularly saying. But when we learn this, we understand this is the path. When you become a monastic, maybe at least to understand a certain version of these things to our life, in your life. So, Kama Sukha Yoga means that clinging to the sensual happiness. And then we discuss about different types of karmas, and we discuss about that there is a difference between karma and chanda. What's the difference between karma and chanda? Now, chanda is not always ethically negative. It is mostly ethically positive. As you can see in the description of the Samma Vayama, Buddha always says, Chandang janeti viriyang vayamati chittam pagganhati. Padahati, vayamati, which means we need effort. Even though you know Dhamma, but if you don't put effort, your Dhamma practice will stop. Your Dhamma practice will be stuck. You get stagnated. You are not going anywhere. Right? You might feel how much things I've been doing, but I don't feel that something is going in my life. Right? So, there is a difference between chanda and karma. And then we discuss about the scope of karma. Karma is a very bigger field, which includes all our realms, kamavachara, rupavachara, arupavachara. And we also discuss about karma as a part of Buddha's way of, Buddha's orderly speech. When somebody comes to see him, to listen to a Dhamma talk, he first talks about dana. He then talks about sila, depending upon the person, situation. Then about sagga. Then about kamanang adinamang, dangers of the karma. Although karma can be dangerous, but he does not talk about it in the first place. Then he talks about renunciation. And only after that, if situation deems necessary, he talks about the Four Noble Truths. If Buddha used this way, that means this is an orderly way of teaching Dhamma. But if somebody is going to teach Noble Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths in the first place, it is not going to work. But it is not how the Buddha asks us to practice. So in this way, we discuss about karma in different aspects across the canon. And we also discuss about karma as a penetrative teaching. We have to understand karma as a penetrative teaching, which means karma should be known, the cause of the karma, the diversity of karma, the result of karma, the cessation of karma. We discuss all that. Finally, we discuss something very interesting here. Now, for most people, karma means objects. I like this person, I like this object, this is my favorite food. Huh? Is it how it works? You think that my favorite stuff are my karmas. But the Buddha says, not your favorite objects become karma in the real sense. It is not the objects, but the sankappa raga. As you can see here, sankappa raga, which means your conceptual desire. So you create sankappa mean here, yeah, I would say as you can see here, you are trying to conceptualize. You have your conceptualized ways of looking at people, things. That is why karma has a diversity. The person that somebody likes is not the person the other person likes. Right? Even the food, even every other thing. So, when you want to really address your karmas, you address your conceptualization. Not those objects. Don't blame those objects. Don't blame those people. Right? So, that is a higher way of looking at karma. Not just picking up, this is my favorite, this is my likeness, or these are my, cup of tea. Right? So and so forth. Alright, that's enough for the karma, right? And then we discuss karma in different other ways, so you can read. Basically, Kama Sukhallikana Yoga means clinging to sensual desires. That means as lay people, you can still enjoy, but without clinging. I was asking an example. I think we could not get it out. You asked something else. Give me an example where an enlightened person, at least at the level of Sotapanna, could enjoy karmas, continued to stay becoming a layperson. Do we have examples like that in the canon? We have. One very famous example is Vishaka. Who is Vishaka? Vishaka was the chief Daika, female devotee to the Buddha. What was her story? It is said that she became a Sotapanna when she was 7 years old. Now there are people asking you to leave the house to become a Sotapanna. Isn't it? In many speeches, in many places, they are asking you to quit the house, leave your relationships. But this person became a Sotapanna at the age of 7. Not even that. And then after some time, she got married. How come a Sotapanna person got married to a man in this case? How did her Sakka, I think absence of Sakkaya Ditti work in her mindset to become married to somebody? And then after that, she gave birth to many children, and then it is said that she got many grandchildren. Wonderful story. What's going on there? Because you are being asked to live your lay life. You are being asked to isolate from other people in your lay life, in many people's talks. Then what's going on? What are these contradictory stories? You don't have to leave the house to become a Sotapanna. This is what you want, right? You initially want to become a Sotapanna. That's it. You are not going to become an Arahant in the first place. Unless you are going for a crash course, 2 weeks crash course. The teacher is saying that I am going to bring you to Nibbana. And then teacher is getting crash, you getting crash, the whole course is getting crash. Right? Call it rapid enlightenment. We can't do that. If things are such easy, everybody would have done that. Right? Either the teacher has a problem, either you have a problem, either the materials you are using have a problem, either the people who are hosting have a problem. Right? If these things are such easy, then I don't think we have even necessities to talk about it. So, what happened to Vishaka? Somebody might say maybe she has done her homework in a past life. Okay, let's say she may have done it. But then why she didn't want to become a nun? Why? She could have easily picked up becoming a nun because she used to go to Jetavanarama. Not even that. She made another temple. She built another temple, Purvarama, the eastern part of the Savatthi. She happily spent her lay life. She had no problem. That means if somebody is asking you to leave the house just because you want to attain Sotapanna, is a misguided idea. Learn from the stories. Learn from before reading suttas, learn the Buddha's life. Learn the life of those enlightened folks. Learn the life of those noble characters. Right? They should be our role models. Right? So, it is possible. And there are other examples too. Isidatta, who became, I think, Sakadagami, they spend a very good lay life. Right? So, as a lay person, you can attain Sotapanna. Now, my question, how did she get married to her husband after becoming a Sotapanna? So, what might have happened to a Sakkaya Ditti? What is Sakkaya Ditti? Sakkaya Ditti means? What is Sakkaya Ditti? No, tell me in the way that we discuss, not in the bad translations. How did we explain Sakkaya Ditti? Sakkaya Ditti means? Yeah, identity view, personality view, ego. All these are translations. But what is the Buddhist way of understanding Sakkaya Ditti? It is given in the Chula Vedala Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya and also in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Now, when Buddha explained about the first noble truth, the Dukkha Arya Satya, he was explaining Jati, Jara, Vyadi, Marana, then Piyehi Vipayoga, Apiyehi Sampayoga, Yampichang Nalabati Tampi Dukkha. Then he comes to a point, if anybody does not understand the first noble truth, even at that point, then let me tell them, Sankittena, in short, Panchupadana Dukkha. If somebody clings to one's own 5 aggregates, that is the root of your dukkha. Then Sakkaya Ditthi means clinging to your 5 aggregates. That is a Dhamma way of explaining Sakkaya Ditthi. Now when you say ego, do you count that? Ego is a word made by Sigmund Freud's explanations. We never get that. And when you say personality belief, you don't get it properly, right? And there are 20 ways of creating Sakkaya Ditthi. I think I have probably a flyer about it. You can find it in the blog. Ah, 20 kinds of identity. Now I use a little but it has 20 kinds. You can see Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vinyana. So there are 4 for each aggregate. Thereby you are creating 20 Sakkaya Ditthi. Now what might have happened to Vishakha? That means although she married to her husband, she had understood how Sakkaya Ditthi works, because she has no Sakkaya Ditthi. Just because you don't have Sakkaya Ditthi, it does not stop anybody from not being with somebody, because they understand that clinging to these aggregates is the problem. But without clinging, you can be so. Very interesting. That means Vishakha understood about her family members, that I should not cling to my Rupa, my Vedana, my Sanya, my Sankara Vinyana. But for the normal lay people is that they have clung to these 5 aggregates, and then they are going to create their lay life. Maybe married life, maybe relationship. That is the issue. But when an enlightened person at the level of a Sotapanna level, they still having relationships, but they are not clinging to their relationship. That is the story we learn from Vishakha. There are many other people. I just gave you a very famous example. Then we studied about Atta Kilamatanu Yoga.
Bhante, can you elaborate on that? Not bringing to the 5 aggregate in the case of Vishakha. What does that mean?
Well, Vishakha was a Sotapanna. And then after became a Sotapanna, she started her lay life, her married life. So how does someone who attains Sotapanna look for a person? Because we understand when you become a Sotapanna, you have to get rid of Sakkaya Ditthi. This Sakkaya Ditthi. So you are not, now normally people think that you can't even attach to somebody. That is the normal belief that people know. You cannot attach to somebody. But with the Vishakha story, she still got married to somebody. How she loved that man, how she got in touch with that man, it is because having understood the boundaries of what we call the extreme areas of the 5 aggregates, without clinging to 5 aggregates as clinging, upadanas, she started that lay life. So I think the point that we have to learn is that even a Sotapanna still continues to be in a lay life. Not even a lay life, in a married life. Now there are people who, when they want to become Sotapanna, they choose to be single. Isn't it? In this society. They choose to be single, they choose to be isolated, they choose to go to forest. There is something to learn here then. That means it's a misunderstanding. That means you are practicing all these things in your dearly cordial relationships. You don't have to walk away from them. If you want to walk away, go ahead. But you don't have to walk away from them, right? Unless you have issues, right? You can still practice your not even normal Dhamma things. Even these enlightenment factors you can practice, and then you can continue that spiritual practice. It is very important, very interesting actually. Not many people talk about it. When they talk about it, they say, leave the house, leave everybody, go to the forest, go to a forest monastery, thereby you become a Sotapanna. What a lie is that? Because they haven't read, they haven't understood these stories. They merely cherry pick some of the suttas. Those suttas were meant to teach for some high-minded individuals. They are not for you. They are for certain high-minded individuals, noble individuals. Not for normal people. That's why you have to read suttas under a certain good teacher. Maybe a layperson, maybe a monk. Good teacher. Kalyana Mitta. Then Atta Kilamatanu Yoga. I think we have spent like almost half an hour for the first one. We have to sort of speed up now to catch up. Atta Kilamatanu Yoga. Let's talk in simple ways. Atta means self. Kilamata means weariness. And Anuyoga means practice. The Buddha said, if you give pain to your body, that is also another extreme. This is very interesting. Now, the first one, a lot of people say, yeah, karma is a problem. But this one, people take it in a very, a shallow way. Why do I say so? When anybody turns to a spiritual practice, be that a monk or layperson, they can be victimized. They can be far more susceptible or vulnerable to a very extreme, painful practice. Because when you give pain to your body, then you will start having lots of issues. One thing is self-hatred. Is self-hatred a good thing? You are hating yourself for your past, right? Now, Prince Siddhartha, ascetic Siddhartha, he had been looking at what he did for many years. He understood this is not the way. Maybe a wrong advice somebody gave to him, of course. He understood it is not the way how he should have followed. How does someone run into Atta Kilamatanu Yoga as a normal layperson? Tell me. Now, ascetic Siddhartha had lots of plans about this. But how about you? How about normal devotees? What could be the ways that a normal lady person, devotee, slip into Atta Kilamatanu Yoga in their own version? Tell me that particular virtue in your practice. Sila. Sila is the tricky point to many. When you practice Sila, now Sila becomes Sikkha. Sila is the higher version. When you practice Sila, you practice Sikkha, training rules, right? Sila is the higher version. But when you nail down Sila to Sikkha, you might sometimes practice Sila in an extreme way. Tell me some examples. Now the Buddha says there is an extreme version of Sila. We call it Silabbata Paramasa. If Sila is so good, why an extreme practice of Sila is bad? And it became a fetter Sangyojana. I mean, that is one of the Sangyojanas you are going to get treated when you become a Sotapanna. It is a Sangyojana, and you should never practice Sila extremely. Maybe too much. Because, as I said earlier, Sila takes you to Samadhi. That's the only thing. A regular Sila practice is necessary. Right? Now, there's an often criticism to the Western mindfulness. Western mindfulness lacks Sila part. This is something that people say, but nowadays some Westerners practice Sila too. So, Sila has to be practiced carefully, understanding why I practice Sila. When you understand why I practice Sila, you will never go to the extreme level. Right? And also some of the cults, Sila, Vata, cults. Are there some Buddhist cults, like in some other religions? That's an interesting point. Cults, C-U-L-T. Have you ever witnessed any Buddhist cults in Buddhist countries? There are. Tell me one example, a non-harming one, huh? Don't mention the names. Huh? Different groups like that, you know. When Buddhism went to different different countries, different geopolitical places, Buddhism took the shape of their country's culture, their country's superstitions, right? It happened. When it went to certain countries, it took the shape of that country, right? Even the chanting, right? Even the blessing, huh? In some countries, monks tie a string, monks sprinkle water. In some countries, there are some other practices to bless you, to chase out the ghost. Huh? Yes, so there are different ways that they practice. So we have to understand them separately. Huh? Yes, yes. So, Sila is the tricky point. Never ever practice Sila extremely. Right? Because the Buddha's way is that Sila has to be practiced in the proper way. In the proper way means that you understand why you practice Sila. I always tell that a 3-month-old infant story. Right? I think you remember that. What is it? A 3-month-old infant never kills, never steals, never misbehaves. He or she does not know what it is. Never lies, never clouds his or her mind by purposely taking things. Does that make him a Sila person? No. Sila does not mean the mere avoidance of the opposite side of the practices. You are not killing by understanding that killing is an issue to me and to other people. You are not stealing because you understand the effects, the ethical aspects of what it is. So in the same way, that is how we look at it. So Sila has to be done with that understanding, not that mere absence of it. So Attakilamata Yoga will be your practice if you don't know how to practice Sila in the proper way. There are lots of Attakilamata Yoga practices at the time of the Buddha, even pre-Buddhist time. You can read all that here. There were lots of people who practice Attakilamata Yoga. Even in today's world, when someone practices Attakilamata Yoga, which you don't notice, you get to like that person a lot. Why is it? So much rigorous practices. We have to respect. Because your respect always catches such people's activities. Because if you do not scale your understanding about morality, then you will wrongly understand their behaviors as points of respect. Right? Okay, that is Attakilamata Yoga. Then we came to the Noble Eightfold Path. Here, this overview of the Noble Eightfold Path, which we discuss here something very interesting. We discuss about the Satipatthana Sutta's description that Ekayano Maggo, direct path, and the many description about the Noble Eightfold Path saying that Noble Eightfold Path is the greatest, the direct, and the most important path, which means we understood that the Satipatthana practice is only a part of the Noble Eightfold Path, and it does not outsmart the Noble Eightfold Path practice. We discussed that. So, but Satipatthana Sutta mentions Ekayano Bhikkave Sattanang Visuddhiya, right? So and so forth. We have to understand that as a part of Satipatthana's analysis, but not this whole path. The whole path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Then we went down to individual path factors. Samma Ditti. What did we learn about Samma Ditti? What is Samma Ditti? We discussed about the Ditti. Is Ditti a good thing? Dittis are always creating lots of problems, our views about things. And then I added something very interesting from Abhidhamma. What was it? In the Abhidhamma it says, when you do a wrong thing without rationalizing the wrong thing, you get less bad karma. Let's say somebody is drinking alcohol, but by rationalizing, it's okay to drink, I don't care. Rationalizing what the bad thing. Let's say somebody is going to attack someone, it's okay to attack. They should be attacked. So you are rationalizing that bad activity. That create very bad karmas actually. But there may be moments where someone just maybe mistakenly execute that bad act. Compared to that rationalization, it has less weight. I mean, if things have happened in your past, I just let you know how things work. We call it ditthigata sampayutta and ditthigata vippayutta. Are these words familiar to you in the Abhidhamma? Abhidhamma has some thoughts, 89 thoughts. They talk about ditthigata sampayutta, ditthigata vippayutta. That means there are people who do bad things with rationalizations, micchaditti. And there are people who do bad things without micchaditti. There they say without the view actually. So we have to understand that ditti is a problem, right? And we learn that where are you going to cleanse your ditti to the best of you? Where is that point? When you become a sotapanna, you are purifying your ditti to the best of you. That means the first level of your spiritual attainment. And we learn from many suttas. See, this is the last stanza of the Metta Sutta. Dittincha anupagamma silava dassanena sampannu kame suvineya gedang nahi jatu gabba seyang punareti. Dittincha anupagamma. Do not get into dittis. Dittis are not good for us. So then, but try to get the right view, right? That is how you're going to navigate the Dhamma path. And then we also learn about Ratana Sutta, right? In Ratana Sutta, there are many places where we learn about the problem with the ditti. See, Saha Vassa Dassana Sampadaya. So, when you have Samma Ditti, you have what you call come to the healthiest view. Actually, it is also a view. So, there we learn about different views, especially Micchaditti, Sakkayaditti, and we understood Sammaditthi is the starting point. Alright, any questions about Sammaditthi? Yes, please.
Can we equal avijja as vicharitti?
Okay. Now he's asking, can we take avijja similar to Micchaditti? No. Avijja and moha, they are same versions, but we understand avijja is the sansarik ignorance, but moha is the mundane version of the avijja. Now we don't say that we have avijja. We say lobha moha. Moha is the mundane version of avijja. Avijja is a sansarik version of the ignorance. Right? That is why we say avijja nivarananang sattanang tanha sangyojananang. Right? So avijja is the sansarik version. So if that is the case, now you are practicing sammaditthi in one life, we could say it is micchaditti. It arises from avijja, yes, but you cannot make it equal to avijja. I would say it is a part of moha, where you are stuck into your wrong view. Any other questions about sammaditthi or micchaditti? Tains, asavas. Yeah, kamasava, bhavasava, ditthasava, avijjasava. Once again, this is relevant to the Arahant version of the Sammaditthi. It's not necessary to know. But let me tell you, Asava, I think I taught in the class, right? Pali class. You are attending Pali class. Okay. So when you look at the Akusalas, we are struggling with Akusalas. The first thing that we experience is Akusala roots. What are the Akusala roots? Lobha, Dosa, Moha. They are after Akusala roots. Let's say you are not properly maintaining your Akusala roots, you are not bringing the Kusala roots, then Asavas are starting to come. We call them influxes. Influxes. From the Akusala roots, then Asavas start coming out. Asavas means the fundamental versions of the kilesas. But kilesas, upakilesas have not yet come into existence. Akusala roots, then asavas. Asavas means the rudimentary version of your kilesas, the rudimentary level, the primary level of your akusalas. We call it asavas. A means influx actually, asrava. They are segregating from the akusala roots. Once you develop asavas, then what happened? You might be supported by upakilesas, impurities, or not. You are then going to create kilesas, defilements. Those defilements. There are 16 upakilesas, then defilements. The whole process of akusala, the creating the akusala, is called as papancha, proliferation. It is given in the Madhupindika Sutta. So what you need to understand is that asava is the rudimentary level, primary level of the kilesas, defilements. So there are many translations. Don't go to translation. These people translate them to be cankers, taints, fermentations. What else? Many translations. So I would simply say influxes. Influxes are very literal actually. I would say asavas are asavas. Nobody translates karma, right? Karma means karma. Bodhi means bodhi. Metta means metta. But when you say loving kindness, love and kindness, how is it going to work? Hybrid term, translation issues, especially for the practitioner. For the books, they are okay. For the writing of the book, it might be okay. They can be backed by different other interpretations. But for a practitioner, it's good to take Pali words, most important Pali words, as they are. So asava means a rudimentary level of the kilesas. Right? So finally, what we need to understand about Sammaditthi is that Sammaditthi is the starting point of your practice. All right? Now, have you already started the practice? You should have started it, right? You should have. Not just learning and writing down in books. Everybody does that. Even the university students write that. Right? You have to go a little bit beyond of that writing, that theoretical knowledge. Now it's enough of writing. It's enough of just learning theory. Now the practice should kick in. Right? Otherwise this is wasting your time. Right? Time is very important. Sometimes you know, you have experience from some ways, then you fall short of the time. Unfortunately. Right? Because there is a saying that, a very famous saying that, the problem is that we think we have time. Right? Then after looking back, no, we didn't have time. Right? So, then I sincerely think you may have started already. If not, start it today. It's little late, huh? Because we started in July. Right? We started by that time. And then, why you have to start with Sammaditthi? Sammaditthi tells you the whole bunch of information of why you should practice. Why you should practice. Let's go to the flyer here. See this one? This is the source where we're going to find out why we should start from Sammaditthi. As you can see here, right view. And every path factor is supported by Sammaditthi, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati. Who says so? Who says that every path factor is supported by, should be supported by other tree? The Buddha. If you have ever practiced any of the noble path factors without these three, that means you should have failed in your practice. You must have failed, because it's not the way. Now, I think you must have practiced these individual noble path factors before in different ways. But as you can see here, the Maha Chattarisaka Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya clearly says that in order to practice even the first one, right view, you need to have right view. Why is it? How do you separate out, this is right view, this is wrong view, is right view? Then just because you know this is right view, is it enough? No. Then you need some effort. If you lazy, if you have sloth and torpor, Tinamida, you cannot practice it. Now you have energy. Maybe you have lots of energy on certain days. Then is it enough to practice this, these path factors? No. You have to know the timing, situations of the Sammaditya practice. Maybe this is the time I come up with Micchaditya. I watch news. Then when I watch news, I create my own Micchaditya about the news. I know while I'm watching, I'm creating my Micchaditya a lot. How do I know? Samma Sati. Then I talk to somebody who is a troublemaker. Then I know that I'm talking to this person. This might be the time I'm creating Miccha Vacha. Right? Definitely, because I don't like that person. You might not like that person. Then you know. How do you know? Samma Sati. In Sammaditya, you are separating out the bad from the good, good from the bad. You may have energy, but still you don't have sati. Then you cannot understand that specific moment of the practice of individual path factors. It's very important. So Sammaditya and so forth. Every path factor must be practiced by these three. The ways and means how you practice it, that you have to particularly understand, specify, contextualize the certain occasion, certain moment, especially with certain people. Right? You are creating lots of miccha parts when you are with other people, dealing with other people. Because when you are dealing with other people, you are not really paying attention to these 8. Right? All right, so Sammaditya is as such. So you are starting from Sammaditya. And then, now when you are, what is Sammaditya in short terms? You can see here. This flyer, you can see. This is these are the Sammaditya things that you have to practice. What are they? Believing in your dana. If somebody says dana is not important, that is the first failure in their practice of Sammaditya. Dana should be done. But is there only one way to practice dana? I mentioned to you a couple times. Is there only one way to practice dana? No, there are many ways to practice dana, generosity. Starting from giving dana to the monks and nuns. What are the other ways of practicing dana? Volunteering, giving your time. Nowadays, the best dana is giving your attention to somebody in your household. Giving your time. You never give your time to somebody, especially to the loved ones. You ignore them. But next day morning, you come to the temple, give dana. What a funny thing, huh? In your household, you never give attention. You never give that attention dana to the person that you should. And your family life is upside down, topsy-turvy. But the morning you come and give that big dana and say sadhu and go, maha sadhu. How you are going to practice it? That's why this dana is not only offering but also developing our mind to make it generous. This generosity has to be earned in many ways. Attention, giving our time, giving our knowledge, giving a helping hand, volunteerism, many ways to be generous. Try to practice all those generous activities. That is how you're going to start your Sammaditya. Not even that. Not even dana. Believing in karma. Most importantly, mother is a special person. Why is it? We know our mother well. You know your mother well. You may have some arguments, whatever happens, but you have only one mother. Right? You may have issues with your siblings. You may not. But taking care of your mother makes you such a very sammaditi person. It is not just an gratitude practice. It is a practice of samma. Even the father. Now mother takes care of 6 children. One person takes care of 6 children. But 6 children cannot take care of one person. Right? In today's world. Money issues, time issues, in-law issues. So they are part of the Micchaditti practice. They have not been able to practice Sammadittis. I always say, if somebody cannot take care of their parents, they are not able to practice Sammaditthi. Start from there. And there are other things. So these are 10 things that you must practice in order to practice Sammaditthi. That is Sammaditthi. Then Samma Sankappa. Let me go a little bit in simple ways. Samma Sankappa means there are 3 Sankappas. Now when you have right view, there comes right intention. In a mind of Sammaditthi, you are having 3 Samma Sankappas. What are they? Avyapada Sankappa, Avihinsa Sankappa, Nekkamma Sankappa. Initially Nekkamma Sankappa. Intentions, thoughts of renunciation. In a world where everybody wants to look for sensual gratification, there is somebody who is trying to reduce sensual gratification that have come up unnecessarily. That person is having lots of happiness. Like a pond, like a lake in a mountain where there are no rivers coming in and out. You may have seen such lakes in some mountains. Then you might see, how does the lake get water in a mountain? The water is very turquoise, crystal clear water. It is because there is water bubbling out of the earth. It's a fountain. Now that is where you are looking for the true happiness, serenity. It's not an isolation from the society, but you are understanding this outflow and inflow of the rivers, sensual gratifications, unnecessary sensual gratification, not the needy ones actually. So, Samma Sankappa means renunciation thoughts. You understand, I want to reduce my unnecessary karmas. Do you have some unnecessary karmas? If you are not satisfied with the food, some individuals, some other stuff, you need to find some happiness in those pursuits. Then you are coming up with Nekkamma Sankappa. This is one of the Samma Sankappa. Then Avyapada Sankappa, thoughts of not killing other people, not destroying other people. Right? And thoughts of not harassing other people, Avihinsa Sankappa. You are not going to be a bullying person. Do we have bullies in our societies? Emotional bullies, mental bullies, there are physical bullies, many bullies are there. You are not becoming a bully because you know that even the thought of trying to bullying other people is a breach of Samma Sankappa. Then you are practicing Miccha Sankappa. Right? We should never do that because such noble thoughts, intentions come to you only when you have Sammaditthi. Now, when you have Sammaditthi, there arises Samma Sankappa. When you have Samma Sankappa, there arises words. Are they words? Words come out now. How do words come out? Because speech starts from Vitakka and Vichara, thoughts. You might not see that, you might see that, yes, there should have a language. No, we are not always using the language to speak. We have this internal mental chatter. This mental chatter has no language. There are a bunch of thoughts getting processed all the time. Right? So, since that point onwards to a very refined language, you must be very careful when you speak. Because there are 4 bad words that you have to get rid of in order to practice Samma Vacha. When you have Sammaditthi, Samma Sankappa arises. Not that you are creating, naturally arises. When you have Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha arises. That means when you have right thoughts, whatever the words that you are going to talk are going to be Samma Vacha, right speech. What are they? Speaking truth, and then what do you call united speech, not dividing other people. Have you seen people who are always, if they talk something, even one word, they are trying to divide two people. They say only one word, and then there's a big something is going to happen, because they don't think about what I'm talking, what I'm supposed to talk today here in this meeting, in this particular food event, in this family meeting, right? Because they don't have Samma Sankappa, no Sammaditthi at all. Then third one is speaking gentle, soft words. Everybody likes to be talking soft, kind words. Everybody needs love, care, even animals, even flowers, even trees. They all like to be talk in a nice way, right? Then the fourth one is always talking beneficial, good things, not being a gossiper. So these are what you call Samma Vacha. Then Samma Kammanta. Now you are at a point you can purify your actions. You are always trying to take care of other beings. You are always trying to take care of what other people have. You are trying to behave well. Did Buddha talk about that these sexual behaviors are okay, that these sexual behaviors are not okay? No, this is not, that was not his business. It is changing as time goes. The Buddha said, what you should be concerned is that do not step over to other people's cordial, dearly relationships. Right? That is important. If you do that, your relationship will be broken one day in another life. Right? Nobody likes to happen such a thing. Right? So those are Samma Kammanta. Then when you now purify your speech and then your what you call actions, now you have a good opportunity to look at whether you are doing a right living. Are you cheating other people to make money? Are you misguiding other people to make money? Right? So we discussed that too. Whatever the activity you are doing for your work, you have to feel free. At the end of the day, I have earned money without cheating other people. Right? Buddha talked about certain opportunities at that time, but I think they have to be revised now, because he talked to those people. He never said, the list of the jobs, should be contingent to changes. Because he talked to people at that time, right? But the list definitely should need some revisions, because we are learning it from today. Because nowadays, the olden jobs have become very easy. Now, the butcher is not seen now, but you see the industrial farming, right? You see everything in a supermarket. You don't see who is butchering, who is slaughtering animals. They have everything become compact. You never see who is doing that, right? So we have to understand these, modern version of the work. What I initially suggest is that if you are not cheating anybody, if you are not doing any unnecessary things, unethical things, you should be okay. But the thin line is you should never cheat on other people to make money. It was given to monks too. Never ever show untrue qualities to lay people, to saying that I have more sila. There were some monastics who did that. Then devotees get cheated. They say, oh, such a good monk, huh? Right? So we have to respect more and more. Right? There are a lot of stories. So he said to monks, do not show any virtues to lay people to get some more respect. Right? In the same way, he told lay people not to cheat other people, because we learned that from the Karaniya Metta Sutta, right? Remember where Buddha talks about it? Now I'm asking now about your chanting book. Naparo paranni kumbeta nati manneta katta chinang kanchi. What does it mean? Naparu paran nikubbeta. Nobody should deceive. Nobody. Why is it? It is a problem, right? So see, even in the chanting, even in the suttas that you always chanting, the Buddha talks about it. Cheating is such a bad thing. Swindling, cheating, right? So now you have already understood about Samma Ajiva. So you should never misguide, cheat on other people to make a living. Try to always to stay true to whatever the product you are selling out to other people. There are people who are selling things, they got it from an organic place. They got it from a very branded place, but they are not true, right? So you understand Samma Ajiva. Now when you are so much sure about your Samma Ajiva, right living, then now you are deepening your practice to the Samadhi, because Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, they are part of Panya. Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva are part of Sila. Then Samma Vayama, Sati Samadhi are part of Samadhi. Now you are deepening, you are what you call sustaining your practice into the Samadhi level, because you have understood the purpose of your Sila. Your purpose of your Sila is to uplift you into the Samadhi. For those people who are stuck in the Sila, they never know what it is. They never know. What they know is, give me the precept again. Give me the precepts again. That's what they only know. They never know the purpose of practicing Pancha Sila, 8 Sila, 10 Sila is to get to the Samadhi level. That should be our purpose. That is what the Buddha says in the Noble Eightfold Path. Now you are trying to practice Samma Vayama. What is Samma Vayama? Huh? I told you Samma Vayama has 4 aspects. And I used an analogy. What was the analogy? A garden project. I would like garden projects. So there are 4 things. Preventing inactive akusala states. So you have to put effort. Then removing active akusala states. Then creating inactive kusala states. And deepening, sustaining, preserving, maintaining active kusala states. It is like a gardening project. Now in a gardening project, if you have a garden, you know that you are very scared of getting some weeds. So you might add fertilizer, you might do certain other your home treatments not to see any weeds coming up. In the same way, you are trying not to create non-existing akusala states. You are a good person. You have no frustration that much. You are content. You are happy about your life or whoever that you are with, and you have less anger. So then you don't need more anger to come to you, more jealousy to come to you, more frustration to come to you. But unfortunately, now akusalas have come to you, let's say. Then you are going to remove them. At that point, you are going to remove them. The kusala side, you understand your kalyana mittas can tolerate more than you. They can do more dhamma work. They are not gossiping, right? And they are doing a lot of good things in their life. They have patience, and they are not bothered by other people's some other mean activities. So you get to think that I don't have this nature. This is such a peaceful nature. I want to learn. So you are creating new kusalas. You are putting effort to create new kusalas. Then you already have some good things. Let's say you are already a patient person. You are already a kind person. You are already a nice person. Don't you need thinking that you need to evaluate your good state of mind? Yes, you have to think, am I kind enough? Today morning I went somewhere. Was I kind enough to that person? Was I nice enough to that person? Did I miss out on some aspects of that particular event? So you are evaluating your good states of mind too. That is also necessary to develop your Samma Vayama. Samma Vayama has 4 aspects. You have to do it all day long, all night long. Not during the sutta study, not during a retreat only. Every time, anytime, 24 hours, 365. It has to be there. Then Samma Sati, I think I explained that in many details. Satipatthana practice. you have to practice Satipatthana. We said that breathing meditation is very important in that practice, because breathing meditation can cover all the Satipatthanas. Other meditations, other exercises can only cover certain Satipatthanas. Let's say body wise, you might practice walking meditation. When you practice walking meditation, you may not practice your Vedananupassana, maybe Chittanupassana. But when you practice breathing, you can go into all the Satipatthanas if it is necessary. In suttas it says even one Satipatthana is enough. Even one exercise of one Satipatthana is more than enough if you do properly. But there are different ways to practice it. And I told you something very interesting in Satipatthana practice. It was that when you practice Satipatthana, you practice as a Samatha practice, also as a Vipassana practice. How do we see Vipassana? You understand the arising part, then the existing part, passing away part, and then I said, when you practice any exercise of Satipatthanas, you are practicing internally, that means looking at your body, and externally, looking at other people's body. Is it like when you practice meditation, you look at other people's body? Is it like that? No. You understand my experience is not an individual experience only. It's a universal experience. Even Buddha had this, Arahants had this, monastics have this, other my fellow Kalyana Mittas also experiencing the same thing. You are thinking. Then what will happen to you? Your Sakkaya Ditti will go down. Sometimes your Sakkaya, you always think your Sakkaya Ditti is rooted in the Akusalas. But there are some Sakkaya Ditti types that are coming up just because you are practicing mostly being self-centered. Today I practice lots of meditation. You are creating some Sakkaya Ditti in a good way. Not good. In a good way, you know. At the end of the day, I am better than other devotees. Better than perhaps a monk. Right? Sakkaya Ditti can arise in a good way also. Because it's like that somebody steals $1 and somebody steals $1 million. Same thing in Buddhism. It is not how much you steal, it is the stealing mind. Same thing. Right? So depending on what that person steals, amount of the deed, he will suffer, she will suffer. But mentally you are proliferating your mind because of that stealing mind. The same way, you should never create akusalas even by doing good things. So Sammasati has to be looked at in that way. Finally, we studied Samma Samadhi. And Samma Samadhi session was little a deep session, because that is what we are going to attain at the end. Now, a lot of people asking, what is happening after Samma Samadhi? Don't worry. When you practice Samma Samadhi, wisdom naturally arises. It swells out of your path. It naturally arises. Right? This is what happens when you practice Samma Samadhi. We said Samadhi is a problematic thing. So we have to practice Samma Samadhi. Samadhi is a Hindu practice, yoga practice. Samadhi means there are people even nowadays, they are trying to look for the bliss of the mind. But the bliss of the mind is temporary. So the Buddha said, why you are practicing Samma Samadhi? It is because you are practicing Samma Samadhi as a, as an ancillary practice, as a subsequent practice to the previous 7. So the Hindu people practice directly just Samadhi. They are cherry picking Samadhi. So you have to practice Samadhi as a consequence of, as a supportive factor of the individual practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. Then only you understand my Samadhi practice is not leading to only a bliss of the mind. It is leading to the Nibbana. And I use it for Samatha and Vipassana as a blend. Yes, brother, your question?
Isn't the Samma Samadhi the result of Sammasati rather than practice? The question is, isn't Samma Samadhi the result of Sammasati rather than the practice itself?
No, Samma Samadhi is the result of the whole practice.
Yeah.
but the immediate reason is Samma Sati. The immediate reason is Samma Sati. It's like that you go to the university, fourth year graduation is the immediate result of the third year, right? But the graduation is a result of the studying the whole years. That is how we have to take it. Now, when people cherry pick Samma Sati, they might think, Samma Samadhi is only the result of Samma Sati. When people cherry pick, like in olden days, when people teach only practice Samma Sati, it happens. So, it is a result of the whole practice, especially it is the most desired result of Samadhi. Because once you hit Samma Samadhi, wisdom naturally arises. So the Hindu Samadhi practice does not give them that wisdom. That's how we have to look at it.
Good evening, Bhante, G.Chandima, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, the Eightfold Path, right? In the way I look at it is actually it's a sequence. What I mean is an order. First, the thing evolved from the thoughts. That means it's the right view or wrong view. Then from these thoughts, right, it carries an idea or intent. And then through this intent, idea, you express it through a speech. Through this speech, right, then it will follow by actions. Whether these actions, the result actions can create, the right livings, or we call it the hard works is for the benefit of others. Then towards the final stage, which is actually the concentration and mindfulness is the most difficult part a human being been trained to. I believe thoughts and all those things actually is a cycle. Can I say that this is actually the Eightfold Path? There's we call it a sequential process. You have to understand the sequence, then you understand the holistic part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, it is sequential initially. That is why I was telling, I was reiterating that people are trying to cut it short, and they cherry pick their desired preferential path factors. If they know that this is sequential, they understand we have to start from Sammaditi. So as you said, this is what I have been explaining. So we have to start it from the beginning and always think about we have to fulfill the purpose of Sammaditi. The purpose of Sammaditi is to attain Samma Samadhi at the end.
The next question is based on this Eightfold Path, right? These factors, does it have, is it empirical or a certain kind of weightages or importance to it? For example, is the right view more important intention, or was it all equal in all aspects?
I think all are equally important, right? All path factors are equally important. But we have to start from the first thing, right? Nothing is more important than the other thing. Don't choose one or the other. So, but starting from the first one, and then when I say simultaneously practice all these 8, understanding we are fulfilling the purpose of Sammaditi, and we are hitting on Samma Samadhi at the end, where the wisdom naturally arising, and the between noble path factors, they are what you call supportive factors as well. So we have to practice them together. We should not prefer one or the other. We have to practice all the noble path factors equally as much as we could in our own way, in our own strength. Yeah. Anybody else? Today is the last day for our Noble Eightfold Path discussion. Yes, you have a question? Please raise your hand and you can pass the mic.
Bhante, I want to ask about Sama Ajiva. I was reading the sutta, the Anaya Sutta, freedom from death. On the last part, there is a word saying that it's actually comparing of the four kind of happiness. So I don't really get the words comparing which type of happiness, because it's saying seeing clearly, a clever person knows both kind of happiness. The other kind is not worth 16 part of the happiness of blamelessness. Can Bhante help to clarify?
No, there were different types of happinesses that people enjoy at the time of the Buddha. So the Buddha was trying to compare that it is the true happiness that he's talking about is going way beyond than those normal 16 types of happiness. That is why it is not even compared to one of the 16 happinesses. Yeah. Is it related to our discussion today? I think this is kind of happiness point of view, right?
It was under the, what do you call, the Samma Ajiva.
Samma Ajiva, okay. Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Any other questions? We will take 1 or 2 minutes, and then we will leave the mic to other people too. We'll see if other people have questions.
Very, very simple. What if a person didn't go through this process of jump, for example, thought suddenly go into action, the speech or, we call them is not the same person? Or
Then the practice does not flow smoothly. There's no smooth.
people will, act very funny.
Yeah, there are different people, but our understanding according to Sutta is that the practice will not become smooth when you cherry pick different path factors. Yeah, it has to be orderly. Yeah, it is like you are eating with the dessert, not eating the main course. You could do so. All right, looks like no more questions for today. Last day. Anybody in the back? Are there newcomers for today? Do we have newcomers? Ah, okay. All right. We don't need to bug anybody to ask questions. I hope that you learn, and if you have any questions, so please send me a message, and I will do the transference of merit part. We are planning to take a group picture today. At the end, after Brother Leslie gives some announcements, not to mark that this is the end. This is a temporary end this way, but we are continuing. All right, so we're going to transfer all the good karmas now to the departed ones and share the good karmas with the Devanaga Mahindika. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating through many weeks about the Noble Eightfold Path and other important aspects of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us. If the departed ones were reborn in a place of discomfort, pain, may they be able to release from those places and to be reborn in places of comfort, happiness, kama sukhati. If they are already in a place of happiness, comfort, may they be able to improve and then practice more Dhamma, apply more Dhamma into their lives, and finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñāti sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. May Deva Naga Mahindika be well and happy. May they share all these good karmas, and may they protect all of you for good health, quality of life, and prosperity, safety. In particular, may they bless your spiritual journey. May you have a very smooth, consistent, persistent, hassle-free Dhamma journey, spiritual journey. May Devanaga Mahindika also finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti sindhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti sindhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Akasatthacha bhummatta deva naga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanang. Akasatthacha bhummatta deva naga punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasatthacha bhummatta deva naga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti chirang rakkhantu tvang sadati. In this endless sansaric journey, may we be in the company of the Kalyana Mitras, noble friends who can help, support, deepen, maintain our practice to the next level. May they always be an abundant inspiration, motivation to the betterment of our practice. And may we be not in the company of the Papa Mitras in the sansaric journey till we attain the Nibbana. Thinking thus, we are going to make a wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu tu yava nibbana pantiya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating throughout our timing. We started the Dhamma Monday Sutta discussion in July. You've been coming to this Dhamma Sutta study since July. Every Monday from 8:30 to 10 p.m. Most of you have been attending. You really wanted to know what it is. What do we not know about the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta? And then what else do we have to understand? Maybe do we have to develop our certain areas of the knowledge about the Dhammacakkappavattana, so especially the practice-wise. May all these good karmas which we've been accumulating in many ways be helpful and supportive for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Also, we wanted to thank Buddhist Mahavihara for organizing this event for many people. Many people are joining from many places, and I think that some of the sessions have been always uploaded onto YouTube, some of the past lessons, so you can learn more. Because when you watch some of the previous videos, every day when you watch, you learn something new. Not just watch one time, watch every time, because your mind takes time to calibrate, right? It's like you turn the button on, it takes time to calibrate. So we are thankful to the Mahavihara, Buddhist Mahavihara, for the chief monk and other reverends, at the same time Vihara committee members here, especially we have Brother Leslie over here and everybody over there. And today we have our Professor Reverend Digali Mahinda Therotu. He is leaving also in a day or two back to England. And so we are all benefited by all of us. Thanking to everybody who have showed up here and all that. May we be finally able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana siris nichang vaddha pachayino chattaru dhamma vaddanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now Brother Leslie will be coming over here, and then give some announcements, I think. Yes.
Good evening, Bhante. Good evening, Bhante Mahinda. So, as Bhante had mentioned, we have concluded 13 weeks or 13 Mondays of the Sutta class. And I think many of you are worried that you won't see Bhante again after this. But Bhante is also quite happy to continue with the Sutta class. And so what we have decided is we will carry on a physical class like this, and we have Bhante online from wherever he is, and then we will continue the Monday classes. So please come every Monday, and Bhante will be here online, and we will still carry on the classes, and you can also ask him questions because it's going to be interactive. So we'll put up some screens, and you'll be able to see Bhante, and we will carry on with the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. As Bhante mentioned, it probably will go on to the year end.
It might.
Yeah, it might. So, but then hopefully we can get Bhante to come back soon, provided his schedule allows it, and we'll definitely gladly invite him to come when time permits. So Bhante, thank you so much for being with us here at Buddhist Mahavihara for the last 3 months. He observed the Vasana here, and sadly he won't be here for Katina on Sunday. He'll be leaving shortly in the next couple of days. So we wish you all the best, and we will see you again next Monday.
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yes.
Online. But I guess that's technology. So lucky we had that technology available. So the class is not over yet. At least temporarily, we still can carry on with the class. So Bhante, thank you again, once again. And thank you, Bhante Mahinda, for being with us. Yeah, everybody come here physically. Only Bhante will be online. The rest of you are here physically. Everybody come back here. The class carries on as usual. Only thing, he won't be sitting here, he'll be on the screen. That's the only difference. Okay?
I will be sitting there.
Yeah, he'll be on the screen, but everyone else will be seated in tables and chairs like this. Okay?
Okay. And group photo. Group photo. Yeah.
So, yes. Sure. Sadhu, sadhu. I'm sure you're not the only one. I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. After 13 weeks of coming through and really studying the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta in detail, I'm sure everybody feels the same way. So before we end, I would like to invite Sister Vimala, on behalf of the Committee of Management of Buddhist Mahavihara, to hand Bhante a small token of appreciation.
She's from the committee?
Yes, she's a committee member.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, everybody say sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So hopefully this is an incentive for Bhante to come back. So as Bhante mentioned, don't go back. We'll have a group photographer just for this first quarter of the year. So then we can have next picture next time. So I think Bhante can sit, both the Bhantes can sit here, and the rest of us can stand behind them, and we'll take a group shot. Yeah?
So, what is the good way to take the picture? Remove the paper. Move it. Yes. Maybe after the photo? After the photo. After the photo. Okay. Oh, okay. You have written something over here. Yeah. Interesting. Yes, I will read that. So yes, yes. Yes. Two.